When it comes to Fox and their Marvel properties, just got real. What am I talking about? Well, of course I'm talking about this new Deadpool movie, which they finally greenlit after sitting on it for, oh, I don't know, forever. But it's even more than that. So much more than that. Because according to Variety, Kevin Feige is co-producing. That's right. Kevin Feige, the head of Marvel Studios, who runs the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who fans feel should just be sitting back and waiting for Fox to stumble and snatch these properties back up. The guy who was apparently actively developing an Inhumans film to compete with the X-Men, which Marvel so infamously sold to Fox in the first place. That guy, he is going to work with the enemy to make the Deadpool film. And that to me says two things. On the one hand, it says acceptance. Just like Disney Marvel has accepted the fact that they are never getting Spider-Man back from Sony. And as I told you, I had heard through my comic book connections that Sony actually owns a part of the Spider-Man character. But, you know, as we discussed many times, Disney and Marvel have accepted that Sony is keeping the Spider-Man property, and there have been discussions about somehow working together if they can. For instance, Avengers Tower was originally planned to show up in the skyline in The Amazing Spider-Man, but wasn't ready in time in terms of digital design. Believe that story if you will. But anyway, there's been some level of communication. But with Fox, it's been incommunicado. However, it seems that has changed to the point where they're actually working together on a movie. And that to me says Disney Marvel realizes that they're also never going to get these properties back. Fantastic Four, Deadpool, X-Men, of course, not going to happen. And speaking of X-Men, that's who Kevin Feige will be working with, Lauren Shuler Donner, who is producing those movies since day one. But back to that in a moment. So what's the other thing that this says to me? That Kevin Feige is willing to work with Fox. It says to me that they have so much success over at Disney Marvel, and they're doing so well that their game plan now can change. Their priorities can change. They have enough on their plate. They're making a lot of money. They certainly have enough to do. So now perhaps you might be looking at damage control. Well, Disney Marvel might say, well, look, we still own the comic book property. Let's protect it. Let's make sure these things do well so that we can sell, you know, the merchandise through the comic books, perhaps. We don't have the rights to the film characters, but we still own the property on the page. We want our comic books to do well. Also, animation. We would like to protect those assets. So you might see Kevin Feige getting his marching orders from the higher-ups at Disney to protect the Marvel brand, even where it exists in other studios. Fascinating development. So speaking of Lauren Shuler Donner, let's go back to her. She's done a very good job writing the X-Men ship. I think Days of Future Past was extremely well received earlier this year, and I think most of you would agree with me, and people could not be more excited for X-Men Apocalypse hitting theaters in 2016. They have a Gambit movie planned, an X-Force movie planned, another Wolverine film coming out, lots of X-Men movies in the pipeline. And Deadpool, to some degree, exists in that universe. You've seen him in the X-Men comics, etc. So I think it makes sense that this would fall under her umbrella. And also she introduced the first version of the character, which was of course not well received, in X-Men Origins Wolverine. So fans were starting to feel pretty good about Fox and Marvel, or Fox's handling of their Marvel properties with X-Men Days of Future Past. Not only was the franchise course corrected, but so, you know, the damage control was done in terms of how fans feel about Fox's handling of these properties. And I think Fantastic Four, they're hoping, will be another step in the right direction. And there's some more news about that as well. But I think this Deadpool movie, let's talk about that first. I think it's very interesting the way it's coming together. And with Kevin Feige behind it, I'm wondering if you feel even better about it. So how is it coming together? Well, as you might recall, the test footage was leaked right around the time that Comic-Con hit, and it did quite well. Fox had a number of leaks around that time, also a Fantastic Four leak of The Thing, and I think we all kind of can, you know, surmise that these aren't actual leaks, but leaks from the studio to test the waters to see if this property, if there's an audience for it. And there was an intense interest in the Deadpool test footage, at least online, and it looked very good. I reviewed it. I thought it was very good. It was highly animated, so Ryan Reynolds is still in the mix. He doesn't have a deal signed, but he is very close to having one signed to play/voice Deadpool, aka Wade Wilson. So everyone's very excited about that. I think he's a little bit of a risk at this point, but honestly, I don't know who else could play the role quite as well. And I think that's who fans have had their heart set on and who they're excited to see. So maybe this could be a turning point for Ryan Reynolds. And I'm sure he has to feel good that Lauren Shuler Donner is in a good place with X-Men and that Kevin Feige is on board as well. So he's in place. They're going to make this movie, and there's even more. It's been revealed that the film has about a $50 million budget. Now, everyone's guessing, and I think rightly so, that at that size, it's going to be an R-rated film. They're not going to invest more than that in a comic book movie that has an age limit on it, an age restriction, although I'm sure plenty of people will sneak in to see Deadpool. But they want to keep it low at $50 million to minimize the risk. So that, to me, and a lot of others, says R rating. Great idea, because we're going to look at some similar films and how they've had some trouble at the box office. And so Deadpool isn't out of danger yet, although that's his comfort zone, right? So it's coming together, $50 million budget, R rating, Ryan Reynolds playing the lead, and probably a considerable amount of animation based on that test footage that we saw. So the Deadpool can do all the crazy things that he's famous for. Not only do them convincingly, but do them wholeheartedly because he has that R rating. So that's very interesting. So let's first talk about Ryan Reynolds. Green Lantern, of course, is a big black mark on his resume. It's almost made him unusable in films. And he has had a very hard time bouncing back after that franchise never got off the ground. DC was hoping to make a bunch of Green Lantern movies, and it just didn't work out. And recently, we talked about DC wanting to put out the Legion of Superheroes to compete with Guardians of the Galaxy to be their space version of their comic book galaxy. And I think that some fans of you guys pointed out, I think quite correctly, that the Green Lantern Corps would actually be a better version for DC to try and copy the success of Guardians of the Galaxy with the cosmic aspect. So I think that's very true. But I think a number of us want to see Jon Stewart, and I think Hal Jordan's just a tough sell these days because the character just isn't as well known by the current audience. I think my Green Lantern is Jon Stewart, and I think a lot of people would like to see that come to fruition. So I think Ryan Reynolds is probably not going to return as Green Lantern. I know there's rumors of a Green Lantern Flash team-up film, but I just wouldn't expect Ryan Reynolds to return to that role. I wouldn't expect DC to want him to, or him to want to do it. It just was flat out rightly rejected by audiences when he took it on. So I think you should see him moving away from DC, and obviously I think Marvel is not going to take him, but I think Fox is going to give him a chance with this movie. So we'll see. I'm curious as to if you think the Green Lantern thing is too hard to overcome. But if you don't really see, obviously if you're familiar with the character of Deadpool, not only does he wear a mask, but when he takes that mask off, he's horribly scarred. So you wouldn't be able to really see Ryan Reynolds, you just hear his voice. And he's, of course, very good at that comedic delivery. Something I think he's actually moved away from in his film performances. I think he's focused more on being the hot guy. He has the six-pack that he's very proud of, although it certainly hasn't done as much for him as it's done for Chris Pratt. So I think this would be a good idea for him to return to his comedic roots, where I think he really excels. So that's the Ryan Reynolds aspect here. Now, I mentioned there's a change with Fantastic Four. Well, Fantastic Four is going to move to the Assassin's Creed spot in the first weekend of August 2015. The one, of course, that Guardians of the Galaxy had this year, that first weekend. And that's because Assassin's Creed, unfortunately, just isn't going to be ready, and that's being pushed to 2016. So that's going to come out the same year as Deadpool. So Fox has a good slate then as well, and so it's interesting to see how they're juggling their Marvel properties. And I think it's good they're taking the time with Fantastic Four to make sure it's just right. And maybe, considering the rumors we're hearing about the way they're reimagining the Fantastic Four, early August is a better choice for that. So let's go, that's the reshuffling. It has to do with Fox's Marvel properties in terms of release dates. But focusing on Deadpool, let's compare it to some other films that are similar. Now, these are comic book movies that are rated R and had a very strong cult following. Now, of course, I think the best well-known one is Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass cost just $30 million to make, had an R rating, and it made $96 million worldwide. That means it definitely made more than its money back. Remember, after you count the split with the theater and the way the weeks are broken down, the percentage as to what goes to the studio and what goes to the theater changes the longer it's playing, in the favor of the theater. But it basically breaks down to about 50% goes to the studio. So that means obviously they were able to make more than they spent on the budget, although of course the budget never includes advertising. But they felt they did good enough with Kick-Ass to make a Kick-Ass 2. However, you'll never see a Kick-Ass 3 because Kick-Ass 2, also rated R, cost $28 million to make. They kept the budget about the same, but it only made $60 million worldwide, which means they only were able to break even when it comes to the budget, not including advertising. So they think that, I think there's a very strong chance Deadpool will perform on par with Kick-Ass. Now maybe it'll do a Scott Pilgrim, which would be even worse, because Scott Pilgrim cost $60 million to make and only made $47 million worldwide. Another film that had a lot of heat, very strong fan support in the comic book community. However, many people said when that movie came out that they were trying so hard to get the word out on Scott Pilgrim, they gave a lot of free screenings to the target audience. So they didn't need to go and pay and see it when it hit theaters, which might have been a mistake in hindsight. Then, of course, Sin City 2 just came out, Sin City: A Dame to Kill For, and that didn't perform at the box office. The budget isn't available for that film. It's not been made publicly known. There are probably some rumors about it, but nothing that nothing firm enough for me to cite here. But I can tell you that it's only made $27 million worldwide, 3 weeks out. So that's really a flop, and that's also a similar kind of property, very stylized, etc. Now, I'm sure that Fox is hoping to have a Zombieland on their hands. Now, Zombieland wasn't a huge hit, but it certainly made more than enough money back, and one of the writers there is a writer on Deadpool. So Zombieland cost $23.6 million to make and ended up making $102 million worldwide. Very nice rate of return. And I think that's something they'd be interested in seeing more with Deadpool. Now, of course, you're looking at budgets here, with the exception of Scott Pilgrim, all around 20 to 30 million. And of course, that would obviously be the ideal budget for Deadpool. But again, I think it's going to have a lot of animation in it, so maybe that's why you see that extra 20 million tacked on to get it up to 50. So I'm very curious to what you guys think of this Deadpool movie. Not just the movie, but what do you think of Kevin Feige coming on board? What do you think of Disney Marvel maybe just accepting the fact that they're never going to get these properties back? How do you feel that you'll never see X-Men, you'll never see Fantastic Four, you'll never see Deadpool, you'll never see these properties go back to Marvel proper? And what do you think of Fox's handling of the Marvel properties that they own? Do you think they're finally doing a good job? Do you finally have some more faith in them? Is partnering up with Feige, is the way they handled X-Men Days of Future Past, and the fact that they actually greenlit the Deadpool movie, finally, does that make you feel that maybe the right people are finally in charge and they know what they're doing over there? All right, so that's our in-depth look at the announcement of this Deadpool film. Write your thoughts down below, and thank you so much for tuning in, and you can check out some more episodes right now.